Hello and welcome. My name is Aisha and I will take you through the webinar today. The webinar is about how EPALE can help you with your Erasmus Plus project, or in fact any project you are working on with partners in the UK and in Europe. However, I will make specific reference to Erasmus Plus projects throughout the webinar to provide examples of how you can use the platform to your benefit if you are thinking of making an application or if you have an existing project with Erasmus Plus. So let's have a look at the agenda for today. As part of the webinar, we will go through how the platform can support you throughout your project, from the initial project idea through to project finalization. First, I will give you a brief overview of EPALE and its community. I will then go through each stage of the project process and tell you how EPALE can help you. So what is EPALE? Hopefully you will know that EPALE stands for the Electronic Platform for Adult Learning in Europe. It is a free multilingual community platform bringing together adult learning professionals from across Europe, such as researchers, teachers, trainers, volunteers, policymakers, and anyone else with a role in adult learning. It therefore aims to increase the quality of adult learning and education across Europe through providing with a platform to network and talk to like-minded people across Europe, to discuss important topics in adult learning, sharing your ideas and best practice to improve provision and practices in adult learning, and overall to collaborate with other people about a subject you are passionate about, adult learning. This often leads to new partnerships and projects too. EPALE has more than 42,000 registered users to the platform, and this continues to grow. We also have more than 23,000 followers on Facebook, more than 16,000 on Twitter. So this just goes to show how big the community is and how it's still growing. I'll just take you quickly to the homepage of EPALE. So this is our homepage. You can see we've got upcoming events on the side here. The EPALE focus for this month is projects and partnerships. So each month there's a theme. We've had prison education, volunteers, media literacy, and so on. EPALE has 5 main themes, which you can see here: learner support, learning environments, life skills, policy, and quality. And we have general different topics under each of these main themes, which you can have a look at. There are a number of tools on the platform to help you connect and actively take part in the EPALE community, as we can see through these icons here. We also have the EU policy here, partner search, blogs, events, news, resources, the glossary, frequently asked questions, and the help button. These can all be accessed by clicking on the icons or by going to the drop-down menus here and here. Okay. Under community activities, if you have a shorter amount of drop-downs, this is because you're not registered. So just register for EPALE. At the top here, you can see that I'm registered. But if you're not registered, it will ask you to register up here. I'll just show you a page of the blog. So you can see here it says register. You can just click on there and register yourself. So as I go through how EPALE can help you with your projects today, I will talk about these resources in more detail. It is important to note again that EPALE is a free platform to use. However, again, like I just said, some of the resources and to contribute to the platform, you will need to register, which you can do on our homepage for free. And the web address is provided at the bottom of the screen here. So let's start with building your project idea. EPALE can help you at initialization stages of your project in a number of instances. For example, you may already have a project idea in mind based on the needs identified in your local area, in your local region, and within your sector and your field. However, you may want to fine-tune this idea. You might also be thinking about making an application for a project but want to know more about other applicants and project managers' experience of the projects. And you may also want to see if your project idea or elements of your project idea are unique. Similarly, you may want to see what other practices are used across Europe in order to form a more solid project idea. So which resources can you use to achieve this? So on the platform, we've got the EU policy page, which we can look at to see if your project idea correlates and with key policy objectives for the EU. For example, the European Agenda for Adult Learning, and you can see it provides data to help you to identify areas where further progress could be made in order to improve national or regional policies across the EU in adult education. You can compare how well other countries are doing at implementing policies at a national level too, so you can see which countries are best to partner with depending on your project objectives. The newsroom will keep you up to date with important news and information in the adult education sector, and likewise the blogs too, which are written by professionals working in the adult education sector in the UK and across Europe. They'll keep you up to date with important trends in the sector, and this will help you to get an idea if your project is unique and perhaps inspire a project approach and inform you about different approaches and methods in adult learning across Europe and the UK. However, I would namely recommend the Communities of Practice tool. This tool is an area where anyone can create an online group to initiate new discussions on a specific topic of interest in adult learning. For example, ESOL for refugees, digital learning, community engagement methods, and so on. You can also join an existing group. Anyone can join the group, and together you can exchange ideas, best practices, and resources. I will be talking about Communities of Practice in more detail later during this webinar, so we'll have a look at that in a moment. For now, we'll look at how using the Communities of Practice feature will help you by networking with others. So in building your project idea, to give you an example of a Communities of Practice, I've taken one group called Adult Digital Literacy, which you can see on the screen. The aim of the group is to share best practice. There are 88 members to this group from a number of European countries. A group like this can, of course, just be used to share best practice, but could also be used to share ideas about gaps that need to be filled, potentially creating a project idea, as well as networking with people to create new partnerships in a specialised area. I'll give you an example of a Key Action 2 project, which is all about sharing best practice. So if you identify where practices can be improved across other countries and other parts of Europe, this can become the foundation of your project idea to create a small Key Action 2 project to share best practice, or even a larger Key Action 2 project where you will create outcomes that we call intellectual outputs. And then you can fine-tune your idea with discussions on the Community of Practice group. A second example here on the screen now is a group that has been set up for a Key Action 1 project and consists of 34 members. This is where you may be able to talk about best practice in running a project and again network with others to gain new partners. As you can see here, this group is set up to communicate and share activities of the adult education leaders learning in Europe for a mobility project. And you can see from the blue button there, you can subscribe to the group if you wish. There are also groups on the Communities of Practice page that have been formed to connect people in the adult education field in the same region. You could use these to create Key Action 1 groups in your area. So now we'll move on to building your project idea, or your project partnership, sorry. So EPALE provides you with a number of ways to engage with others in the adult education sector. So you can meet similar-minded people to network with, find organisations to select Key Action 1 participants from, find partner organisations in the UK to create a Key Action 1 consortium, find partner organisations across Europe, and allow potential partners to find you too. So again, you can use the Communities of Practice tool to do this. However, the main feature where you can actively focus on finding partners is the partner search function. So let's start by showing you where you can find this resource on the website. So we'll go to Tools and Portals, and here we can find the partner search, or we could go back to our home page and click on the partner icon, but here I'll click the partner search. So this will take you to a page that says Tools and Portals. It says looking for partners. So it should come up in a moment. Looking for partners, here we go. So as you can see on the screen, we've got on the right hand side the home page for partner search, a little bit of information about it, organisations that have signed up, and then ways in which you can get involved on the right hand side. So you can add your organisation so other partners can find you, or you can add your own partner request. We can see down here we've got the partner request. They've got a staff mobility for Section 1, a mobility for gastronomy and hospitality school in Spain, and then about a project single parenting and work integration. So here we can see that we've got these project summaries about what they're looking for. And then if we move up, you can find partners by doing specific partner search here. So you can look for types of activities. So if you're looking for an EU funding projects, to share ideas, to create a virtual project, or project job shadow, or just to discuss ideas, I would select one of these. Be careful if you're looking for an organisation in your own country, for the UK, because as we can see from the list here, we've got the UK, but it's also split into the devolved administrations, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. So an organisation may have added themselves under the United Kingdom, or they may have added themselves under England, Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales. So you may need to look at United Kingdom as well as whichever administration you're looking to find partners in. And this is the same for find organisations by country as well. So we'll do an example search. So if I find one that's looking for EU funding, I don't mind what country and I don't mind what type of organisation, but my main focus is on digital. So I'll type that in keywords, and I'd like the request to be valid from the beginning of the year. And then I'll press apply. And then that will bring up digital groups that are looking for partners here. As you can see, as it's a European platform, it's not always in English. And if we scroll down, we can use these buttons at the bottom to go on to the next pages. So that's a brief overview of that. Okay, so if you want to get involved, just press one of these buttons here. So I'll go back to the slide now. Okay, so let's just have a look at this partner search function and what else you can do. Okay, so we've got our partner search options. Sorry about that there. So you can use this function, as you can see, to use the search function to find someone to partner with, to approach. Secondly, to add your own organisation to promote it, so other organisations can approach you. Or thirdly, to set up your own search by adding a partner request to invite others to contact you. The last two options can be completed by clicking on the options at the right hand side of the screen, as you just saw, under the Get Involved box. As you saw on the screen just now, you can see the project descriptions are very detailed and specific. When you go onto one of the projects that you'd like to contact, there's a green contact button where you can find further information and register your interest for that organisation. You can create your own partner search request by clicking on Add Your Request for a Partner. And as I just said, you will need to be very specific and detailed in your brief about what you are looking for in a partner and what your organisation already does exactly to make sure you attract the right organisations for your needs for your project. Other details that you'll have to include will be your organisation name, contact person details, country of residence, and the latest dates that you want organisations to contact you. The form is very simple. However, if you'd like more information, please look at our mini webinar series about the partner search function, and we'll go through the form and provide you with some tips and some more details in a short 5 minutes webinar. So now let's have a look at networking to meet partners as another way. So you can use the platform to network, to meet like-minded people with who you can share best practice and who you can potentially partner with outside the partner findings function. So EPALE hold live discussions which we publicise through social media and in the e-newsletter, which you will receive once a month if you're registered to EPALE, along with all the up-to-date news and main blogs for the month. There are specific topics for the live discussions. For example, in the past we've had adult literacy, social media and adult learning, intergenerational learning, role and challenges of migrant education, and media literacy as well. So if there is a discussion about one of your project focuses, you can join the discussion and talk to others with this similar interest. This again can help you form your project idea and help you to prepare for your application. Again, a further way to speak with people is to comment on their blogs. So you can click on the icon on the homepage to go to the blogs. So there are interesting blogs from across Europe that you can comment on to potentially connect you with the author and with their organisation, especially if they're writing a blog about their own project and their own work and methodologies of learning and teaching. This is also the case with news articles where you can comment on policy updates, for example. However, please do remember you will need to be registered and logged into your account to comment. I'll show you an example of a blog now on the platform to give you a good idea of the type of blogs that we do get, but have a look as well on your own. So this blog here is called I Don't Like the News, and it was authored by Abigail Gardner, published in September, which was our Media Literacy Month. So it's quite relevant to that. It's about the MEDLIT project, which stands for Media Literacy for Migrant Women. So it tells us what media literacy and what the project is all about. It's added a picture there as well to make the content more interesting. Tells us the research findings from the project and informs us about the online toolkit that they've created and which they can share with you and which you may be able to use yourself. And then the contact details there and then the author's bio. So please do have a look at the blog page and think about writing your own blog to disseminate your project outcomes and informations. So another way is again to join a community of practice. The tool has 142 groups at the moment, and groups ranging in size from 2 members up to 158 members in any one group or community. So remember, they are open groups that anyone can join to discuss a particular topic. As with the partner search function, you can also create your own group to start a discussion or to share best practice, where you may meet potential partners. We've already seen the page, but let's have a look at some examples that I've put on the slide here for you. So we can see from the groups on the page here that there are a range of them with different foci in terms of locality and subject, each attracting a range in number of members. So the first example is the group in Wales. You could join this group to meet local partners to create a Key Action 1 consortium or organisation to source participants from for your mobility project. Or you can meet local stakeholders to engage in your Key Action 2 project, take part in research, test intellectual outputs, or to potentially invite to multiplier events and to disseminate too. The second group here focuses on digital. So if this is your project focus, you might want to join this group for free. For example, if you have a Key Action 2 project to exchange best practice, or if you're going to create a new digital resource, you can meet relevant partners from across Europe here. Alternatively, you might want to find organisations where their staff may want to go on a mobility to learn about how they can use digital tools in the classroom, or otherwise to teach their adult learners, all for personal development purposes. The same applies here to the third community group, which is Adult Education for Sustainable Development. So you can see how these groups can be used to meet partners as well as network, to exchange ideas and perhaps create a project idea and to meet partners. So again, for more information about communities of practice, please do see our mini webinar series. So let's move on now to preparing your application. So EPALE can help you to refer to EU policy, research and best practice to support the need for your project. We have the EU policy tab, which you can use to read up on EU policy and the objectives that can feed into your application form to support the need for your project. You may have already looked at this when forming your project idea, but you should definitely reference EU policy when describing the need for your project in your application form and include up-to-date statistics where possible. There are a number of tools on the tab, so let's just have a quick look at these now on the web page. Okay, so we've got EU policy here, and it brings you to this where it says discover how the EU is promoting adult learning. Okay, so we've got the EU's role, which gives us the information about policy. Oops, sorry, I've reloaded it. We've got information about evidence and research, so you can see the research that the European Commission have commissioned and has taken place across Europe in adult education. It may help you. Same with the good practice or best practice on policy and adult learning from other research areas. And then we have the policy analysis, which shows you how each country compares. This will be updated as well. So moving on from the policy area, we can also use the glossary to help us with our project. I've got that tab open here. So we can use the glossary to use adult education jargon in your application. So we can see here the jargon can be translated in other languages. So if I put, it's in French at the moment, if I put it back into English, search, and then we'll see when it comes up that the jargon is in alphabetical order. So you can use this again, like I said, in your application, and also to use it to translate if you are submitting an application to a national agency abroad. So you can find the correct translation of what you want to say and to describe your organisation and provide profiles of key personnel using some of these words. So you'd have to keep going, or just use the search function to find an expression, or go by alphabetical order. Okay. So once you have confirmed the partners to your project, you can use the Collaborative Spaces tool to talk privately with each other. So you can easily go to the Collaborative Space by clicking on the Community Activities tab and clicking on Collaborative Spaces. As explained, you'll have to register on the website to have this drop-down box here. If you're not registered, you won't see Collaborative Spaces on there. So let's just go to Collaborative Spaces quickly. You can also click on Set up a Collaborative Space if you'd like to create your own space, which is here. So you can see they are in the same format as the communities of practice. We've got one here that's ideas for EU plus projects. So I'll just take you back to the PowerPoint for a moment. Okay, so collaborative spaces, these are private closed groups of people working together in partnerships. As I said, they are like communities of practice. However, the difference is that they are closed private groups where members are joining by invite only. The invite is from the administrator, so that's the person who sets up the group. Therefore, if you as the project coordinator set up a group, you can invite your partners from your project to join. In the collaborative space, you can discuss your project freely with your partners, share documents such as the terms of the grant agreement, learner agreements, intellectual outputs, and so on. You can upload and discuss them. There are currently 165 collaborative spaces already, and it keeps growing. So please make good use of this resource. So you can see here an example that a group has been set up to discuss implementation of a project. So we've got the purpose of the group there and the title of it for Erasmus+. Second group, again, they will discuss and share documents on a specific topic that's relevant to their group focus. And then finally, the third group, where the space is used to privately discuss ideas on a specific topic again. So for more details and some tips on creating your own space, please see our mini webinar series on communities of practice and collaborative spaces tools. Okay, so I'll move on now to during your project. So EPALE can help you to keep in contact with project partners through the Collaborative Spaces tool that we've just gone through, and we can do that throughout the duration of your project. As we've indicated already, you can upload key documents such as the grant agreement for all partners to refer back to, so budget rules are definitely adhered to. You can share templates, share project timelines so that you can all monitor your project progress against mobility flows for Key Action 1 or progress of intellectual outputs for Key Action 2, for example. You can share project team meeting minutes and also action points, and any project updates and discussions there too. Now we'll have a look at raising awareness for your project and disseminating project outputs and impacts. So you can dissemination and awareness raising for your project should take place throughout the project lifecycle. So, for example, under Key Action 2 projects, you may have multiplier events or initial creation of intellectual outputs that you want to inform your target audience about and get feedback on. So you can do this by contributing content to the platform by creating a news article, for example, which can be read by 42,000 or more registered users, as well as other visitors to our platform. A further example is that you may wish to complete research as part of your Key Action 2 project targeting adult education practitioners, in which case you can use the platform to publish a call to action of adult education practitioners within a certain field to complete a survey or to attend a multiplier event. So these can be disseminated on the platform during and after your project. So let's have a look at after your project as well. So again, it can be used for dissemination purposes, to disseminate the outcomes and the impacts of the project. You can do this by writing a blog about what you've learned in terms of best practice. So for Key Action 1, for example, this might entail how best to recruit learners, how best to work with European partners, and so on. It could also be a blog about the impact the project has had. For example, in the Key Action 2 project, if it's had a positive influence on policymakers, you could write about that. Any blog should be written with specific interest for adult education practitioners that may potentially help them to improve their own practices and the provision of learning in the adult education sector. Similarly, you can publish your resources on the platform. For example, intellectual outputs will be published on the EPRP, the European Platform Project Results Platform, for Caption 2 projects. But you can publish it here on EPALE too. Again, this should be something that adult education practitioners can potentially use and will find useful. So this could be a summary of research findings, a summary of best practice, or actually completed tools that practitioners can use to teach the adult learners in the classroom or in their community, or it could be a personal development tool for practitioners themselves. You can publish a news article for Key Action 1 project. This might be a 100-200 word piece on the impact of a vet learner. It could have a title such as Learner Lands Work Experience Abroad After Erasmus Plus Funded Project to celebrate a success story. Or for a Key Action 2 project, it could be an article on an organisation using the intellectual output that's been created for your project, or the influence that a project has had on policy. Either way, news articles are short and snappy and will grab the attention of the reader. The main thing to take away from this is content, again, should be of relevance and import to adult education practitioners. So on to evaluation. Evaluation can be completed throughout the project, for example, after each draft of an intellectual output or after each mobility in a Key Action 1 project, and that's for quality management purposes and to make sure a project is on track against the project objectives and key performance indicators. However, your evaluation summary will take place at the end, so I've placed evaluation here, but as I said, it could be placed under during a project too. To hone your evaluation skills, you can network with other people on the platform through the Community of Practice tool. Again, throughout the lifetime of your project, when you are regularly reviewing and evaluating the impact of project activities. However, you do have 60 days after the end date of your project to write your final report, so you can always use this time to perfect your summaries of project impact. You can use the Community of Practice resource again here, as there are groups where evaluation and impact are discussed. So I put an example on the screen here, and the name of the group is called Evaluation of European Projects. We can see that they are saying that the community is intended for sharing thoughts, resources, contacts and good practices regarding evaluation of European projects. So that would be really useful to you. You can also use collaborative spaces to share drafts of your final report, with the aim that partners can contribute content such as statistics, case studies, success stories, how they've disseminated and who to, impact on their staff, their organisation, local area and region, to ensure you submit a quality final report. So that's all for now. So thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed the webinar today and found it useful and can see how EPALE can help you with your Erasmus project, from the initial project idea all the way to the end, where you will evaluate and disseminate your final outcomes. So before you go, I'd like to provide a quick review of what we've covered throughout the course of this webinar. So you can see on the slide that we have looked at various EPALE tools and resources to include EU policy tab, the glossary, the networking resources on the platform, including commenting on content, taking part in discussions, as well as looking at the communities of practice to meet potential partners, and then also the private groups called collaborative spaces to use with project partners. And then finally, how you can contribute to the platform to raise the profile of your project and your organisation through blogs, news articles, events and resources. If you'd like further information, there will be a Prezi available shortly, if it's not already on the website now, about how EPALE can help you with your Erasmus Plus project. So if you'd like to share that with colleagues in your organisation, that would be nice and brief. We've also created some short webinars about EPALE, a quick overview, partner search webinar and community of practice and collaborative spaces webinar, to provide quick overviews on the tools that you can use with some tips and helpful advice. In any case, if you'd like to do anything and you need further information, please feel free to contact the EPALE UK team on the website, the email address there, epaleuk@ecorus.com, if you have any questions. And please don't forget, if you've not already registered, please register for a user profile on EPALE, and that will allow you to use all the resources and tools, including the collaborative spaces, and make comments and to contribute to the platform as well, and use the user directory. Please also get involved in our social media by following us on Twitter and Facebook, and liking our tweets and retweeting them, and liking our Facebook. But thank you again. I hope you found this useful and informative. Any feedback is welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.